Welcome back to my channel. I'm Sigourney Rosario, helping you to boss up in business, self-love, and faith. Welcome back. So today we are talking about everyone's favorite topic. Drum roll, please. The AFOQT. So if you are interested or you're interested in commissioning, stay tuned and let's go ahead and hop into the video. Now I will preference this to say every person is different. Every person studies different and every single person tests different. So I'm just telling you what worked for me. Okay? I'm not saying it'll work for you. I'm just giving you tips. So tip number 1. This is the biggest tip I can tell you. You need to make sure that you're studying the subjects that matter. You can review all of them, but you need to study what matters. So I kept it real simple, real basic. Math and English, that's it. The science is not even graded. Again, I'm talking about when I applied. I applied April of 2025. When I applied, science was nowhere needed on the AFOQT. It didn't go into your overall score. When I applied, aviation and all the table reading and all that stuff did not count towards the actual AFOQT test, non-rated portion. So if you want to study that, absolutely go for it. But I'm just letting you know your brain is very limited. Okay, we're limited up here. So if you are trying to be a pilot, obviously you need to study all that, but you don't need to review science because again, that's extra brainwave. That doesn't go into your actual rated score. It doesn't go into anything math related or English or any of that stuff. So there's no point in studying it. I know some people review personality tests for what? Like, okay, that's extra brain waves that we do not need. Like, you need to study what matters. So do not take my word for it. Go and look up what goes into the math score, what goes into the English score. Make sure you're studying what matters. Now, luckily for me, again, I did review all the different sections because I just, you got to review it. But I was never like studying it. Surprisingly though, I did do really good in aviation. I like the little compass thing. I think it's pretty cool. And I did do really good in table reading and block counting and all that stuff. So I did good in the rated section, but I just have no desire to be a pilot. So again, you just want to study what actually matters. Number 2, one thing I did not know, y'all, the math formulas, they have a cheat sheet for it. So if you did not know that, again, when I took the test, I got to preface this because don't be up there thinking they have it and sometimes they don't. When I took the test, they provided the cheat sheet for all the different formulas. I didn't know that, y'all. I had already memorized the area of a rectangle, the area of a triangle, the circumference of a circle, the circumference of a rhombus. I had all that memorized in my brain on top of learning all the math and all the English. So I definitely, if I had known that, y'all, it would have saved me so much brain capacity. Like, if you did not know that, again, when I took the test, y'all, they had the full cheat sheet. And I was on that test like, I just wasted so much time, so much energy when all the stuff was already provided. So just be mindful of that. Number 3, you want to study with a timer. So again, how I did it is I studied regularly without a timer. When it started to kind of creep up, like maybe a month out, I started taking the full practice test with timers. I started taking different sections with timers because you want to see if you're able to answer the question correctly. Also, if you're able to answer the question correctly with a timer, because those are 2 different things. So if you at your house and you taking a test and you giving yourself an hour to complete one section, that's completely different when you have to make a decision very, very quick. So you want to make sure you are using a timer, especially a month out, a month and a half out, so you can get yourself accustomed to making quick decisions, fast decisions right there on the spot. And you're not just, wasting time or thinking you have more time than you actually have. Number 4, this should be common sense, but I just want to mention it just in case people do not know. There is no calculator. So if you are studying, if you are using any type of calculator on the AFOQT, just know that when you take the official one, there will be no type of calculator at all. Number 5, this was one that kind of threw me off. That's the only reason why I'm mentioning it, is you want to figure out, if you're able to, how the test center test the AFOQT. So what I mean by that is when I was studying, right, I was using the electrical version. Like I would do like practice tests online, and for my cheat sheets and for like my scratch work, I was using paper and pencil. When I got to the test center, they had a electrical, but the scrap work was a board. So just think about this. Just let me walk you through this, right? So if I'm using my scrap work and I have to keep erasing, or I have to keep writing and then erasing and then writing and then erasing, that's taking up time. So I was so used to zooming through all these questions when I was doing my practice test. When I got to the test center, it threw me off because I'm like, oh my goodness, I gotta keep erasing. So if a math problem took up the full board, on the next question, I would have to erase it and then read the question and then write the math problem, and then on the next question, erase the board and then start back over and then get back to this and then back to the, erasing. I just literally felt like I was wasting time. So if I had known that in advance, I would have been studying as close as possible to the way that the test center provides it. There are some test centers where they still use paper and pencil. So you need to call the test center and say, hey, how do y'all do the AFOQT? Okay, cool. When I have scratched sheet of paper, do I need to be using a board? Do I need to be using paper and pencil? All those things matter, because if you think about it, keep erasing, keep adding, keep erasing it. That's adding in, I would say, an additional 5 minutes when you add it all up, that I was not accounting for when I was doing my practice test. So you just want to make sure that in your house, in your home, you are creating as similar as possible the same environment that you would do if you're at the test center. So the next thing I would tell you is you need to create some type of study schedule. Again, everybody studies different, everybody's tests different. There are some people who can cram and who can just pass it. Okay, kudos to you. Congratulations, here's your cookie. But for the rest of us, we need a little bit of prep time. So for me, again, I gave my leadership notification in November. So I started studying November, December, January, February, March, April. So about 5 months. And then I was ready to take my test. So that's pretty much how I did it. I also studied an hour every single day, and I made sure that that happened. So when I say every single day, I mainly mean Monday through Friday is when I usually would study. If I skipped the day, I had to make it up on the weekend. So say for instance, I had something going on, or I had an event, or I wanted to go out, whatever the case may be. If I skipped Wednesday, I made it up Saturday morning. The last thing we're going to talk about is study materials. So honestly, y'all, I wish I had saved everything, but by the time I finished up with that test, y'all, I dumped everything. I literally dumped everything, but I'm going to show pictures of everything that I used to study. Number one, I got 2 different AFOQT tests, and you want to make sure you get it for the current year. So 2 different AFOQT practice tests, the book essentially, and you want to get it for the current year that you are testing. So I know you're asking, girl, why did you get 2 of them? The reason why I got 2 AFOQT books is because some books cater to certain sections. Some books lean heavily on the math. There are some books who may tell you certain things that the other book doesn't tell you. There are certain books that may, give you a heads up on this or that. I don't know. I just felt like for the first book that I got, it gave me so much knowledge on the English section. On the second book that I got, it gave me so much knowledge on the math section. I know it's weird because it's like, why do I have to pick 2 books? I'm just telling you what I did. I'm just extra like that. But I could see a difference. So if I had studied just the first book, I would have been really good at English. If I had studied just the second book, I would have been good at math. But because I combined these 2 different books, even though it's supposed to be AFOQT, like the full thing, the knowledge was different. So I just used both books. And another thing I use is the practice test in the back. So both of them came with 3 practice tests. So if you include it, obviously I had 6 practice tests, and I used scratch sheet of paper. I never wrote in the book. I used scratch sheet of paper, and that's how I would keep retesting myself. So I would take 1 practice test, use scratch sheet of paper, and then take it again, use scratch sheet of paper. I didn't want to have my answers always in the practice test of the book because I would be looking down at it. So that's kind of how you mix and match the different, books and how you make it work for you. Second thing I use is flashcards. So you can either make your own flashcards. There will be a link down below where I link the ones that I got off of Amazon. They're actually pre-made, which is lovely, but they pretty much helped me and I absolutely love them. Game changer, game changer, game changer. The next thing I use is an app. I cannot remember the name of it, y'all. I really can't. There's countless apps you can use. I did not pay for it though, so there should be one out there for free, but definitely use apps. Again, they have free practice tests on there. They have different flashcards, different quizzes, all the good stuff that you need. And then the last thing I use is free practice tests online. So again, I just wanted to make sure that I had the full practice test with the timer on it, and I used that, and that definitely helped me as well. If you need encouragement or you know somebody else that may need a little bit of encouragement, please write into my foundation, Letters for Life, where you receive a free handwritten letter of encouragement back to you. As always, I love you, but most importantly though, God loves you. I will see y'all in my next video. Bye.